We talk a lot on this channel about how faking a mental illness can affect your mental health and the community, but we never really talk about how faking a mental illness can actually affect those who you love. I appreciate people who come out about faking disorders and describe it as like an addiction because it kind of exposes the reality of why people would fake it in the first place. My ex-best friend is now a DID faker. Well, yeah, title speaks for itself. I met this girl online. We'll call her Lynn for anonymity's sake. 3 to 4 years ago, she was really sweet, and we were into the same fandoms and stuff, so we got along great. We moved from the app we were using, which was Amino, to Discord maybe 2 years ago, and we were just hanging out. Q a year or so ago. She recently got into an ACE attorney and joined an Amino community for that. That's where she met 3 people, all who claimed to be systems, with almost strictly fictive alters, things like littles, etc. She tried to get me to befriend them, but I sensed that they were faking hardcore, so I just sort of refused to. Now she's dating one of the systems, and the alters are getting married. She added Pluralkit to our Discord server, and then when I couldn't keep up with the insane amount of one-sided conversations she was having, and the constant need to have to keep up, and the ungodly spam, I had to beg her to quote-unquote mask. She changed her name to one the system she was dating gave her, and recently changed it again, which isn't really relevant, but meh. Her alters include fictional characters she simps for, her own OCs, and one that she claimed to be a Greek god Apollo. It's getting hard to talk to her now, and I'm planning to start slowly distancing myself from her since we rarely talk. Anyways, yeah, thanks for reading my rambling. I just wanted to get this off my chest. That's a really sticky situation. I honestly don't know what I would do if I was the other person. It's hard to empathize with why they would want to fake it in the first place. I know that you really want to help someone when they're struggling with faking a disorder. However, it kind of has to be their decision. You can kind of guide them in the right direction. Maybe tell the appropriate people if it's safe. And I don't know how old these people are, but maybe explain to the friend that there must be some reason that they're wanting to fake the disorder, whether it's for attention seeking, which I know gets a negative term, like you're attention seeking, but the reality is that why are they seeking attention? Make it clear that if there ever needs someone to talk to about the reason, that you'll always be there. But it's hard to give in to that unhealthy behavior. And there was an update. Small update with her and her headmates or whatever. Apparently she formed 2 new ones, another Greek god, Artemis, and a character from a book that's like some bad guy she obsesses over. I'm getting sick of having to deal with this TBH. Her Discord status was all angry and I thought something bad happened to her, but she gave me the story. There was some non-consensual things happening in her headspace. But yeah, any update in case any of you guys were still curious. Oh. Yeah, you know, there's plenty of fish in the sea when it comes to friends. I'm not saying that this person is a bad person for faking, but it's something that you kind of have to set a boundary for. My ex became a DID faker and it ended our 4-year relationship. I'm so sorry, OP. I had been dating my ex, let's call her Jane, for about a year, maybe 2 years, when she fell into the DID faker community and completely tore us apart, and honestly, I'm still a little effed up about it. Jane ran a Discord server that was open to the public. A couple joined that both claimed to be systems, let's call them Adam and Steve, that Jane became close friends with. All 3 of them had a separate group chat outside the server, and Adam and Steve frequently went to Jane to settle their relationship disputes. It always felt weird to me, especially since Steve in the server seemed to do nothing but complain about his life, but it got worse when one day Jane came to me and told me that Steve had opened her eyes and that she was a system. She even claimed to have one of those non-human alters. She said Steve had given her this task about visualize a hallway and open the doors to find your alters, and she found 3. A lot of other people in the server were concerned about this. It was very tense. I had again known Jane for about 1 to 2 years at this point, and yes, she had some memory issues, but never in that whole time period did it come off as having DID. Adam and Steve eventually turned against Jane out of nowhere, and Steve turned out to be completely shady for other non-faker reasons. The specifics don't matter, but he was exploiting and harassing a cancer patient. I thought that Jane realizing that they were lying about a lot of things and had been shitty to her would make her realize that they had brainwashed her about the whole system thing, but it didn't. It got worse. She made a new server, added Pluralkit to it, and started hanging out with almost exclusively internet poisoned teenagers. FTR, she was 24 and I was 21 when she started this, hanging out with 14 to 17-year-olds on Discord. Okay, yeah, I might struggle with that a little bit. I mean, you know, when it's a kid faking, like some of these stories we talk about are 13-year-olds, it's like, okay, you know, that makes sense. But when it's someone who's, you know, an adult legally. I even saw a lot of her friends with those types that claim to have 20 to 100 alters. I thought it was really interesting that she would play plural kit alter roleplays with her friends in her Discord server, and though this was short-lived, she even did the emoji sign-offs on other social medias, but around me, she acted completely normal. She never did switches IRL and never tried to talk as her alters in our private messages. She would occasionally bring it up, but I didn't play along with her delusions, so it never went anywhere. She started claiming things she had in the past as trauma, but they usually just boiled down to, my mom was rude to me. I've met her parents and they're both very lovely people. Obviously, just because OP believes that their parents are lovely people doesn't mean that they are. I know that this might be a sticky situation, but there's other reasons that they believe that they're faking, obviously. I started getting embarrassed to even introduce her to my friends because of how bad it got. She started listing all of her medical diagnoses on a card. She would tell me that I can't critique systems because I'm a singlet, and it drove us apart. She barely talked to me anymore. She wanted to talk to her 14-year-old system friends on Discord. She would spend upwards of 9 hours a day on Discord calls with these kids that validated her delusions, and it was awful. And she got mad at me that I didn't like her friends or want to talk to them. I tried to work with her in a way that wouldn't immediately come off as me calling her a liar. I tried to suggest that if she sincerely thought that she had a severe mental problem, I would like her to go to therapy and talk to a professional about it. She said that it was too hard to find one and never actually made the effort to. This was her excuse every time I brought it up. She started getting very close to one of the people in her server called Pam, the only other adult in there, I think, though I use that term loosely because I believe they were 19, and would even avoid me to talk to Pam. Pam was another faker and validated Jane's delusions. Jane and I had been talking for a while about moving in together, but it never worked out because Jane would always get cold feet about it and say she needed more time to think about it. Whenever I brought it up, she always included how she wanted Pam to live with us too. I didn't like this idea, but if I said no to it, Jane got upset. An argument ended our relationship. Unrelated to the faking and spending 9+ hours a day with Discord teens, surprisingly. 2 weeks after, Pam moved in with her. I have reasonable suspicion that Jane was cheating on me with another DID faker because I wouldn't play along with her faking. I don't know what's up with Jane these days, but I kind of want to know what that household must be like. As a fellow young adult, I completely understand how people who are your exact same age or similar might have different maturity levels. For example, I'm very immature. Whatever Jane was going through, it seems like she was on a different path than you, if that makes sense, as in she was immature, which just might mean that you guys aren't right for each other at this point. And talking to a 14-year-old as a 24-year-old doesn't sound right. The fact that she didn't seem to have any problem or see anything unusual about the behavior of the kids on the Discord indicates that something might have been wrong. It's easier to validate younger people who have less life experience. Not that it makes it okay on any means, because on the internet a lot of the time you don't know how old people are, so this makes the children feel like the 24-year-old is a authority figure. It's sad to see these friendships end because a person seems to go down a completely different path. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to take care of your boundaries if you've already done everything you can. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this one. I think it's very sad, honestly. It's upsetting because you have this desire to help the faker. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you're feeling risky, and thank you so much to each and every one of my members. Thank you so much for watching this video as always, and goodbye.